And we're live. Hello, everybody. I'm Nicole Curtis. I'm part of the leadership team at She Rises Studios, and I'm here with the beautiful Annabelle Beckwith and the beautiful Indy Beckwith. Hello, ladies. How are you?
Hello. I'm good, thank you.
So we're doing the light the torch ceremony because it is release day of your book. I'm so excited. Stepping Up to Lead.
It is, yeah, a practical guide to your first people management role, and it's it feels like it's been a long time getting here. You know, sometimes people have said, "Oh, how does it feel to have finished a book?" And Indy, I don't know how you felt about it. It's like, and it was like, I'm just kind of crawling over the line, going, "It's done."
I love it.
But it is exciting.
So I want to ask you both: what inspired you to write this book?
Well, Ind, it was you, really.
So I stepped into my first people management role at the beginning of last year, and I always phone my mum whenever I need anything anyway. But having the experience and the background that she has, every time that I came to a problem or handling situations for the first time, she was the first person that I would call. And she always had answers, tips, tricks, techniques, frameworks that I could use practically day to day in the role that I was filling in my company. And it got to a point where we were having so many conversations, and I literally exclaimed on one of the calls, I just wish there was a book that told you all of this in simple terms that was readable. And we thought, no, there's something. And so the book was born.
Well, I love it because you took your perspective, and then Annabelle and her amazing leadership coaching and just who she is, and she's so knowledgeable. So I think a lot of people in the She Rise community, but also worldwide, that come to Annabelle, for guidance, support, for help, and like she is like the leadership expert.
Yeah,
like she is incredible. So I'm right there with you, Indy. Of help, Annabelle.
It's one of those things where it's part of it is I have been so blessed in my career to have just been asked to work with so many different companies all over the world, different sectors. It's IT and software, it's shipbuilding, it's pharmaceuticals, it's banking, it's retail, everything. And just starting to notice patterns of behavior and thinking, oh, look at that. It happens in London, it's happening in Houston, Texas, it's happening in Chennai, India, it's happening in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and thinking these are patterns of behavior. This is what happens when people come together to try and accomplish something as a team. And that might be within a community setting. It's within a business setting where you're achieving business goals and objectives and so on. And also I did probably about 20, probably close to 30 years ago, when I was in a management role, and it was like I made so many mistakes, it wasn't even funny. I was very fortunate to have inherited a brilliant team and just guess my way through it, but I absolutely fluked it. And at that point, I had a superb role model. There was a lady called Dr. Leslie Crane. She didn't have a doctorate then, but she was one of my first bosses. And she was an entrepreneur, and she was superb. She was such a role model. So when I was like guessing my way through my own management stuff, my own leadership role, I would literally think to myself, now, what would Leslie do? Well, she would walk in and she would take, and I would be kind of emulating her. So I think now it's kind of come full circle where I'm thinking, now that I've got this experience, it's almost like my purpose in terms of leadership development has shifted to think, well, pass it on. I mean, we're talking about lighting the torch here and passing on the torch. It's very much about passing on the baton, and ensuring that people who are new to a leadership role, new to a management role, aren't just left to their own devices. Because not that that's what's happened necessarily with Indy, but so many people statistically are promoted into a role because you're good at the thing. Now let's put you in charge of the team doing the thing. And the people management side of this, how do you now deliver results through other people? People are left to their own devices to try and figure that out. So it's like, well, here's some where I can help.
Yeah. No, I love that. So this book has uses the proprietary 5 Ps framework. Correct?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So that helps guide new people managers. So can you explain the core principles behind this framework and how it simplifies the leadership journey for first-time managers?
Yeah, well, I'll just explain it in the end. You do come in and say, you know, how it kind of makes sense to you as well, because the 5 Ps framework is the basis of my first book, Get Your Ps in a Row, 5 Key Factors to Propel Your Business Forward. And those 5 principles are personal, purpose, people, process, and paradigm. And it just occurred to us as we were thinking, whoa, there's so much we could say. Where do you even start? That actually one of the things when you step into a leadership role is it can be information overload. It can be quite overwhelming. So to map it out somehow. So and the 5 Ps actually work. So the first thing is about your mindset and stepping up to lead and what you get out of your own way, you know, imposter syndrome, you know, limiting beliefs and so on. So the mindset to lead is the first thing. The second thing is the purpose. And so for a new manager, particularly if you're in an organization, you know, you're growing within an organization, that might be a corporate, it might be an SME or whatever, but you really need to understand the vision, the mission, the purpose of your business, because that's something that you need to pass on to your team as well. Not just the functional, this is what we need to do, guys, but this is where we're going as an organization. And this is how you contribute to it. And then we've got the people side, and there's a whole load of stuff that this was where Ind was saying, how do I ... And I was going, well, so there's a whole load of people management stuff. And then you've got the processes. So how do you make sure that you are following processes within your business, that you're improving them, etc., etc. And then the paradigms is about how do you create that culture, that team spirit, and so on. So it kind of provided a path through it all. But Ind, what was your... There's me saying this is how it works. You were the guinea pig. You were the one.
I love this. I love this. Can you hear us all right?
Sorry, you broke up there.
Oh, right. I was just saying,
no,
like,
sorry, you broke up. I just heard.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. So it was just around the 5 Ps framework and how that structure kind of made sense to you as a new leader.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you touched on, obviously the 5 Ps that you spoke about in your first book, everything that we were discussing in our calls anyway was coming back to one of the 5 Ps. And so it was a very natural sort of progression to then incorporate the 5 Ps into this book, because everything was tying back to that anyway. But I think the thing with this book that we were really conscious of was, as you touched on earlier, there's so much information out there. There's so many books and, like you say, information overload, and we really wanted this book to be a practical tool that people can pick up. You can read it from front to back, or you can skip to the chapter that is most relevant to you at that time. It's super readable, it's super digestible and accessible for people to read, and it's not intimidating, because honestly, when you step into a new management role for the first time, you have enough things to be thinking about, and we didn't want people to feel overwhelmed when they open the book and realize all this information that they should know or want to know. So yeah, that was really important throughout the whole of the book as well.
No, I love that, because this actually goes right into the question that I had for you, Indy. For first-time managers who are feeling that overwhelm, right, of all the responsibilities and the new role, what key advice or techniques from the book can help them overcome the initial feeling of being unsure or unprepared?
I think, well, first of all, buy the book, but remember that you're dealing with people above you, people in your team, and as my mum touched on earlier, like, people all behave the same way. We all share the same goals when we're working in an organization, and kind of take the job, if you like, out of it, I found anyway, and remember that it is people that you're working with. Nobody's out to get you. Nobody has promoted you into a role and wants to see you fail. Your team don't want you to fail. Like, everyone, nobody wants you to fail, and don't be scared of the role that you're stepping into, because it's exciting, it's an opportunity, and you're in that role for a reason. So first of all, be excited about it and kind of channel any nervous or scared energy into excitement for what's to come, because you're there for a reason, and exciting things are coming. And buy the book, because a lot of in there that I had
Well,
no idea.
I'm gonna buy it. I love learning. Like, leadership is huge. I think it's not just in work, it's in your everyday, right?
Yeah.
You lead yourself, you lead in for me, I lead it as a wife, I lead as a mom, I lead in my community, I lead with friends, right? I lead in so many different ways. And I honestly believe the book that you ladies wrote, it can actually mold into all those different areas, really, and instead of just in corporate or just in business, right? As in entrepreneurs. And so I absolutely love that you both took your own perspectives, right? You, Annabelle, as a leadership coach, and you, Indy, as being in the manager role. And I just love how beautiful it is that you both came together to create a guide to write a book that can help women, or really anybody, honestly, all over the world, to not just step into lead in their roles, but I honestly, truthfully believe that it helps have them step into leading in their own life, right? As an individual. It's like, I think it's like a two-way road, I guess, if you want to call it. But my question that I have is, I'm really, really interested. First, I'm going to ask you this question, Annabelle. In writing this book, is there something that stood out to you that you didn't know about yourself before, or something that you learned about yourself, or some type of a aha moment in writing the book of in your leader? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, and it was very much what I learned from Indy. I learned from India, because there's, we all have our own perspective, and it's, what can I say? I'm in my mid-50s. It's quite easy to think, oh well, I'm the one who's the knowledge holder, and I will share this wisdom with. And it's not like that, because it's also because India was asking questions. So I was going, oh, do you know what? I'd forgotten all about that. I forgot. Or, of course, India has a fresh perspective, because when I was in my management role, like, as I said, 30 years ago, I stepped into my management. That was in the last century. It's like, oh, God, a sobering thought. But it was, it was a wee while ago. So I was learning from India about what it's currently like to be a leader and a manager. And there were a few things that we actually incorporated into the book, which came out of the process of writing the book. So one of the things, in one of the chapters, we talk about communication, which of course is a huge subject. We could have written an entire book on that. It's like, well, what do you even say? So we've just picked out a couple of key things, but one of them is, oftentimes when people talk about communication, they want to know how they can influence and how they can speak powerfully and so on. But two things that people often overlook: questioning skills and listening skills. And within the listening skills, one of the things that I learned from Indy was listen for the throwaway remarks that people make. The aside, they're talking to you consciously and boom, something comes up, because that's where the value is. And that's actually where the book came from, because as Indy was saying, we would chat. Oh, if only there was somebody had written a book about this. Now we could have just gone, oh, right, and back to, and we thought, oh, no. That throwaway aside, that was where the value was. That was where the idea was. And that's just something that was that's come to mind as an aha moment. But there were loads of things like that where we'd be chatting, we'd be going, oh, wait, that's another thing. And I do think it's important for women, for men, for anybody who's a little bit older, it's not just about mentoring, it's about reverse mentoring. It's like, we don't have all of the answers, and we don't have all of the solutions. It's very much about learning from the next generation, and also sharing what we can with them, so that they can take the workplace, they can take the world and form it in what do they want to make it in order to move it forward.
Yeah. So, Indy, I'm curious to know, what was it like writing a book with your mom? Like, was there things that is there things during this journey process?
Given that we live in different countries, I wasn't sure how exactly we were going to manage the workload and editing and all the rest of it. But honestly, the way and the format in which the book's written kind of follows the timeline of what I was going through in my management role anyway. So it was almost, as questions were coming up for me, that's actually what we were writing about at the time anyway. So the book is very much based off conversations that me and my mum were having anyway. So in that sense, it was a lot easier than I anticipated, because it was natural for us to put things in the book because we were discussing them on the phone weekly anyway. So yeah, it was a lot easier than I'd anticipated, and I do feel very lucky that I've got someone like my mum who is on the end of the phone and can answer all my questions and has an anecdote for absolutely everything. Like anything I've been through in work or life, my mum's seen it somewhere else in a business that she's worked with. So that was also really comforting in writing the book, is knowing that what you're going through as a first-time manager is not completely alien. You're not the first person ever in the world to come across this issue or to be unsure of how to handle a situation. It happens all across the board, and having like little anecdotes thrown in the book as well to kind of showcase that, I find really helpful as well.
Oh, well, bless you too. I absolutely love both of your hearts and how you just have that purpose of wanting to serve and educate, inspire, and empower, like women, men, like, globally. So I first of all, I appreciate both of you. And I am so excited that today is the release of your book, Stepping Up to Lead. I'm so excited. Thank you for letting She Rises Studios Publishing be part of this with you and in your journey of this together. And I have a feeling that there might be another book maybe that's around the corner, potentially coming from this, maybe like a part 2.
Well, who knows? Although I must say, I was saying to my partner, I was thinking, if I ever say that I'm going to write a book, please lock me up until I start to see sense. But it's been a process it's been a fun process. I mean, there's been a lot of laughs along the way. I mean, even when we were doing the promo videos and so on, I have to commend, I almost gave up. I have to commend the team for managing to salvage something out of the videos that we'd submitted, because we just could not stop laughing.
I love that.
So it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun to write it as well.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, for all of you that are watching or catching the replay, you can go out and Amazon today. Stepping Up to Lead is out. It's ebook. I'm so excited. Congratulations, both of you.
Thank you so much.
Indy, is this your first book?
Yes.
Yay! Well, congratulations. And Annabelle, this is what, your second?
It's my second, yes, and I've contributed to other She Rises publications as well. So as part of the
awesome
anthology. So yeah.
Well, thank you, ladies, for being here. Like I said, anybody watching, you can go ahead and go on Amazon. You can get it today. It released today. Congratulations, you two. And with that, I hope all of you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much, Nicole. Thanks, everybody.
Bye everybody.
Bye.